Okay, now we're ready. Okay, very good, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the July 17th meeting of the Skokie Plan Commission. First order of business, I will call the attendance. Commissioner Speyer is called in sick, she's not present today. Commissioner Scott Berman.
Here.
Okay, oh, here it is, okay. Commissioner Franklin.
Here.
Commissioner Gibiahu.
Here.
Commissioner Gupta.
Here.
Commissioner Jeff Berman.
Here.
Commissioner Matei.
Here.
And I am here. And we do have a quorum for tonight. First order of business will be to approve the minutes from the last meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the meeting?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Any additions or corrections to the minutes? Call for the vote, a voice vote. Aye in favor?
Aye.
No, the minutes have been approved. Thank you. First case this evening is case number 2025-06P, alley vacation, a request by MD Private Services, LLC, to vacate a 20 by 117-foot unimproved east-west alley north of 7625 Parkside Avenue and south of 5550 Howard Street. Is the petitioner here? Please come up to the podium. Oh, I'm sorry. We have two petitioners. Before that, I'm going to ask the staff to come up. I'm sorry. Please. And staff, for the record, Ms. Patillo is the notice and order.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, notice is correct and true.
Okay, thank you.
Good
Mike?
evening. Just want to clarify there, it's a co-petition for the alley. The alley will be split evenly
Oh,
between
okay.
the two petitioners.
Right, exactly.
I don't know what the agenda said on that, but it is two petitioners for this
Oh,
case.
and, okay, I see, okay. I left them out. I apologize.
I'd like to request that the staff report for case 2025-06P be accepted into the record as written.
Sure, just give us a quick overview of the request. And
So staff recommends that the petitioner's request to vacate the east-west alley north of 7625 Parkside Avenue and south of 5550 Howard Street in an M1 Office Assembly Industry Zoning District be approved, subject to the recommended conditions. The request is being made by the landowner here at 7625 Parkside, as well as the landowner at 5550 Howard Street, and this property extends down. In case there was a question about why it's a Howard Street property, it goes all the way down here to Howard Street. The property is used as an outdoor storage facility for BCLS landscaping, and then MD is a contractor's office south of the alley, and this is Parkside Avenue. Excuse me, Parkside Avenue here, deadheading at a gate for the outdoor storage area for 5550 Howard Street. The alley was initially platted in 2015. Those of you who were here at that time may remember Herrig Manufacturing had a proposal for this area, and they were going to build a like a multi-building facility, and as part of that, they went through site plan approval. They vacated several streets that were just never utilized in the area, and this alley was created as part of the subdivision. It was a two-lot subdivision to provide an outlet for that north-south alley that's behind these properties along Parkside. The alley was never improved after it was recorded, and the village has determined not to have any desire to improve it, and just leave this part as an alley, providing access to the backs of these businesses. So as such, the two owners came to the village and asked about the status of the alley and whether we'd be open to vacating it. We said yes, and the agreement is that this 20-foot wide alley would be divided 10 feet to the north, 10 feet to the south. with each of the properties acquiring it at the market value, which was
Okay.
determined at $40,000 in March of 2024. Again, the village board would have the final say on the determination of the value, but we work off the appraisal and go from there.
Okay.
There are no utilities in this alley, so there will be no easement necessary to be established. There are utilities running within the north-south alley to the east and providing service off those lines to the businesses off of Parkside Avenue.
So everything's coming off of Parkside?
The service is coming off of the alley in Parkside. You can actually see a utility pole. This
Oh,
is the
okay.
termination of the line, and there's a pole right here, and it continues south along the west side of that alley to the east of Parkside. This is a photo taken of the subject site, and we're looking east from Parkside Avenue toward that north-south alley. And now we're looking west toward Parkside from the north-south alley.
But they have water and sewage there, right?
That service is provided within Parkside itself.
Okay.
This is
What
a,
about, what about stormwater detention in that district?
I don't know where it's provided immediately in the area. It's all served and removed, you know, all water is removed out of the, storm water is removed through the pipes that are in Parkside.
Okay.
As far as like on-site detention, there probably isn't any because these are very small parcels. When the Herrick proposal came forward in 2015, they had proposed to put a detention area in, but that never came to be. So everything that's there is just
Is there, okay.
as is, yeah. This is an aerial map showing the site. This was taken in earlier this spring. This is the plat of vacation. So the alley totals 20 feet wide by 117 feet long. And the recommended conditions for case 2025-06P. The property shall be vacated pursuant to the plat of vacation and as may be further revised with the approval of the village manager or designee and corporation council. Within 180 days of the adoption of the ordinance by the Board of Trustees, the owner of the property at 7625 Parkside Avenue shall remove the gravel from the south 10 feet of the vacated alley and fully improve the area with a paved surface that meets the village's drainage and design standards as required by section 118-264 and section 118-212F respectively of the village code. And this reverts back to on here. You'll see the area, this is just occupied by some cars that were stored here. So this owner intends to utilize their 10 feet and connect it out to Parkside with a driveway. And we do not allow driveways to consist of a gravel surface. So they will have to either asphalt pave it or concrete pave it and implement whatever drainage is necessary to meet village code requirements. So their half will be required to be paved. The north portion, my understanding is that the fence may be moved further south to allow for additional storage area for the landscape business. And then there's also an intent to open up this gate and eventually have a second point of ingress and egress to the storage yard from Parkside Avenue. Right now they access it down from Howard Street, so this will be another point of entry into that storage area for them. So yeah, divided 50-50, and then improvements would be required for that southern petitioner.
Okay.
And yep, that concludes.
Okay,
my
any
presentation.
questions of the staff? Commissioner Matei?
Just to be clear, because it was in the plans, there are no utilities, either overhead, underground, on that piece of 20 feet, either east or west.
Correct. No
Thank you.
easement is necessary in this instance.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Mike. Okay, can I have the petitioners come up, please? Thank you. Okay, as you come up, I would like just to have your name and your affiliation with the case.
Hi, Billy Sidlowski, owner of BCLS Landscape and Brick Paving.
Okay, and sir, you're,
Mary Andrighici.
into the mic.
Mary Andrighici,
Okay.
MD Private Service.
Gentlemen, can you raise your right hand? Do you affirm that the testimony you give tonight is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you?
I do.
Thank you. Okay, so you've heard of the staff's report. Is there anything in the report that you have a question about or object to or comments on? And do you have anything else to offer to the commission?
From my perspective, with the property that is adjacent to the north, my intentions is to utilize that property to expand our operation for storage.
Yeah, that's very
Being
good.
the fact that it has been abandoned and somewhat of a nuisance and
Mhm.
unmaintained, I feel it would better serve, obviously, ourselves through the cost and the village by being an improved property and maintained throughout. I don't know if this board is the appropriate as far as the cost. Is that determined here tonight?
No, it's not.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
You'll have to discuss with staff and maybe with the village manager as to that aspect.
Thank you.
And you have time to do that between now and the final meeting, or final,
In 180 days?
at the board meeting.
Perfect.
Which will have a final hearing.
So that's pretty much summarizes my intent and use for the property is to improve it and put it on the tax basis and utilize it to not necessarily expand, but have it as
Well,
appropriate property in the future to utilize.
right, yeah, that's good. I'd like that. I mean, I hate to see property just sitting there without being used, or somebody benefit from it. And I'm glad you will benefit from it.
Great, and
Thank you.
thank you for your consideration.
Sure. Yes, sir, do you have anything to offer?
Well, I'm with him on this. I started the process a little bit by having a lot of rats in that area, and I make numerous phone calls to the city,
Mhm.
and nobody was taking care of that, so I took it in my own hands and I paved it with the gravel.
Okay.
And that's how everything started, so you
Well,
guys
that's
are
good.
aware of it. And I also want to expand the property if I can't.
Yes.
I have 8 children, so I think so they're going to benefit for that.
Yeah, well,
They
that's
love
good.
that area, that's why we actually
I'm
bought
happy to
it.
see that someone can use the property.
Yes,
Okay, very good. Okay.
thank you.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. Oh,
Thank
excuse me, before you leave, anybody have questions of the petitioner? Yes. Okay. Gentlemen, thank you.
This is not relevant, I guess, to the case, but like, how many areas like this exist among the village, around the village?
So, wow, when I started here, we identified, I had to go out and identify, this was back in 1999. I identified about 120 alleys at that time, and we've carried it through a process. And these were alleys that were mainly in residential areas that were not being used. They were platted in the 1920s, but everybody started building houses in the 40s and 50s and wanted garages off the street. Not ideal now, but that's what it was done at that time. So we've moved through that process. This particular alley is not part of that program. In those instances where we identified those alleys and also pointed them out in the comprehensive plan, the village covered a lot of the costs on that. In this instance, this alley was created post-era of that program. So alley-wise, can't give an exact number, how many are left?
I mean, the reason I'm
Probably,
asking the question
yeah.
is because I want to try to figure out how we can avoid a situation like this in the future.
Well, no,
where-
we've been looking at this for over 10 years. I
Yeah.
mean, we've had a program, and with the residential properties, the properties were actually given to the residents.
Yeah.
And all we
Yeah.
we
No, I
did
know
the
we've seen
paperwork.
some cases also here.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
there's some that are,
Okay.
he's got to clean some of it up.
Yeah.
you know,
We
so-
are-
But for the most
So
part,
if I might,
Yeah.
community development just completed a current inventory of alleys to be vacated, and it's our intention to move that forward in an organized and efficient manner. The
Okay.
specifics of yet, we're working on.
Yeah. Not just alleys, but some streets. We do have streets that were platted.
Yeah, there are some
and
streets,
They're
too.
not used,
Yeah.
so.
Okay.
We have identified them and we're developing a plan. to handle the
Okay.
vacate.
Any further questions of the staff? Okay, thank you, Mike. So on case 2025-06P, alley vacation, do we have a motion? Motion to approve, thank you. And second, who's that second? Thank you. Let me write this down before I forget. And a call for vote. Commissioner Berman.
Aye.
Commissioner Franklin.
Aye.
Commissioner Givyahu.
Aye.
Commissioner Gupta. Commissioner Berman. Commissioner Matei. And I'll vote aye. Okay, this case still has to go before the Board of Trustees for final approval. You'll be notified when they get the case. They meet on the first and third Mondays of every month. Gentlemen, thank you very much, and have a pleasant evening. Our next case is, I had it here, 2025-09P. And this is for an auto repair facility. Yes, here it is. For a special use at 7401 St. Louis Avenue, Unit B as in Baker. Okay, is the notice in order for this case?
Yes, the notice is accurate and correct.
Okay, thank you very much. Mike?
I'd like to request that staff report for the special use permit at 7401 St. Louis Avenue, Unit B, be accepted as written.
Yeah, granted.
This is a request for an auto body repair facility that intends to occupy a portion of a multi-tenant building at 7401 St. Louis Avenue. And staff recommends that the petitioner's request for a special use permit for an automotive repair facility at said address in an M3 zoning district be approved, subject to the recommended conditions and attached proposed positive findings of fact. Staff further recommends that relief be granted from section 118-233E to not provide one parking lot tree for every 15 parking spaces within the interior of the parking area. This is a view of the vehicle entrance on the south side of the building into the shop area. There are 2 overhead doors available for the business to utilize to access that shop area. So we are looking north from the what is now like a outdoor storage yard into the south wall of the building. This is a view of the office and the front entrance to the business, and they would be occupying the first floor of that space. The second story, I believe, is vacant right now. It's just vacant office space. And we're looking from St. Louis Avenue east. This is an aerial map of the overall site. It's a very large site with the building situated on the north side. Up here, divided up into an auto repair facility, existing legal non-conforming auto repair facility at the west end. Petitioners are looking to occupy this general area here. There's a towing company that has some storage area in here, and then they also have vehicles that are kept down in this portion of the property, and then this back area I think is just storage. So the main focus of the business will be in this area in the building, and then within this area here, this portion would be customer and employee parking, and then this would be an outdoor storage area for vehicles either having been repaired or waiting parts to be repaired. My understanding is that this business will focus mainly on the repair of fleet vehicles, so not from the public, but from other companies seeking repair of their vehicles. And proposed positive findings of fact for the facility in the proposal. The automotive repair use is appropriately located where the land use is intended to protect and encourage such a use. The secure area where the vehicles in need of body repair will be screened from the view of St. Louis Avenue by slats installed in a chain link fence. Landscaping will be planted along a portion of the east lot line in order to partially screen the area from the adjacent property to the east. The portion of the fence that encroaches onto the Tenneco property at 7450 McCormick Boulevard will be relocated on the subject site. The use is serving as a catalyst to improving the site with a landscape buffer on the east property line, the paving of the parking area, and general cleanup of overall site conditions. Adequate public facilities, including roads, drainage, utilities, and police and fire protection currently exist to serve the requested use. Adequate provision for maintenance of the associated structures is demonstrated by the request. The petitioner will be required to pave and stripe the entirety of the secure parking area, other than where the proposed landscaping will be located. No adverse effects on the natural environment are anticipated. As there is very limited landscaping currently present at the site, the petitioner is proposing to plant 10 bushes along a portion of the east property line for screening. The petitioner is also making a financial contribution for village tree planting elsewhere in lieu of providing the required parking lot trees. It is not anticipated that the request will create undue traffic congestion, provided that employees and customers of the business utilize the on-site parking lot and avoid blocking the access driveway from St. Louis Avenue. Public health, safety, and welfare will not be adversely affected by the request. Aside from the petitioner requesting relief to not provide trees within the parking lot, all other applicable provisions of this code are conformed to by the request. This is a plan showing the floor configuration. So here's the entrance to the office off of St. Louis Avenue. And then the back shop area where we have, I think there's some frame machines, a paint booth, and several stations, several repair stations. Internally, the two overhead doors that were in the photograph are here and here. There is a existing shed that's south of the main building that will be removed in order to allow for the striping of 3 additional parking spaces that are necessary to meet the overall parking requirement for the use, with an existing parking lot configured here and adding the state of Illinois required 3 ADA parking spaces. There will be a bike rack installed at this location. And then fencing, security fencing will be constructed. I think there's some existing right now, but it will be added with some gates over here to close off this area, and then it will also be screened from view from St. Louis Avenue. This is just an enlargement of the floor plans, both first floor and second floor. And again, second floor is not going to be occupied by the petitioner, just the first floor, just a portion of the first floor. And recommended conditions for case 2025-9P. The petitioner shall develop the subject property in substantial conformance with the final village-approved plans. Prior to the issuance of an occupancy permit, the petitioner shall A, submit a financial contribution of $800 to the village for the planting of trees elsewhere in the village in lieu of planting the 2 required parking lot trees. B, relocate the portion of the fence that encroaches onto the Tenneco property at 7450 McCormick Boulevard so that it lies within the subject site. C, pave and stripe the entirety of the secure parking area other than where the proposed landscaping will be located. D, submit to the Cook County Assessor's Office a petition for division and/or consolidation of property with associated fees to consolidate property index numbers 1026-400-019, 1026-402-053, and 1026-402-054 into a single tax parcel, or provide evidence that the petition was submitted to Cook County as required by Section 11857 of the Village Code. E, submit a full set of plans for the entire building that shows distinct areas of business occupancies, as well as code-compliant egress routes from each business. F, submit fire sprinkler reports for the entire building. G, install a fire alarm system to monitor the sprinkler system and notify the building's occupants. H, install a fire alarm system to monitor the sprinkler system and notify the building's occupants. And I, install a Knox box with keys for the building. Recommended condition number 3, business patrons of 7401 St. Louis Avenue, Unit B shall be required to utilize the on-site parking lot. 4, all snow plowing activity at the subject site shall be kept clear of the proposed landscape area along the east property line. 5, the business owner of 7401 St. Louis Avenue shall assure that no customers nor vehicles needing repairs are obstructing St. Louis Avenue right-of-way through traffic. 6, all repair work must be performed within a building at all times, except inspecting vehicles, adding fluids, and changing tires, batteries, windshield wipers, or light bulbs. 7, outside storage and display of items for sale or lease, tools, equipment, vehicles, parts, or supplies is prohibited, except vehicles and propane for sale or lease. Those vehicles that are for sale or lease must never occupy a required off-street vehicle parking space. 8, vehicles and boats are prohibited to be sold, advertised for sale, or other than operational licensed vehicles owned by the establishment remain outdoors on the property for more than 10 days, except at vehicle dealers. 9, any vehicle outdoors in need of body repair must be parked in a legal parking space and screened from view from any public street in rights-of-way abutting the lot or in abutting residential zoning district. Such vehicle is prohibited from being parked outdoors for more than 10 days. 10, the petitioner shall submit to the Planning Division electronic files of the site and floor plans in their approved and finalized form. And 11, the petitioner shall comply with all federal and state statutes, laws, rules, and regulations, and all village codes, ordinances, rules, and regulations. And that concludes my presentation for this case.
Mike, there was a business at this location before. It was also automotive repair. Were they operating under a special use?
There is an auto repair business there now, in the building, McKenna.
Right.
And they are a legal non-conforming use. They've
Okay.
been there for many years, and their occupancy predates the requirement for a special use permit, so they're
Okay.
allowed to operate as is.
So the brothers are taking over that business is what they're doing?
No, they're going to be occupying behind it.
Oh, behind it? Okay.
Yeah, so McKenna is up front in this area. They've got several service bays. I think there's 4 service bays over here with overhead doors.
Yes.
So in back, there's a larger area to the east of that, where the proposal will be occupying.
Okay.
So we're gonna have 2 automotive
Is
repair
there,
facilities.
is there like a, some kind of a wall that separates the two businesses?
Yes, yeah, there's party walls
Okay.
within here, yeah.
And who has a spray booth?
The booth is over here for the body shop.
Okay,
I
and
think it- I
that's
believe
gonna
it's back
be
in-
run by the new entity there?
Yes.
Okay.
Mike, they're not related, the two businesses, correct?
Correct.
I have a question. Why did you make such a point of telling us a couple times that there's no occupancy of the second floor? Would that have changed the staff recommendations? Because you said they're occupying the first, they're
Right.
not occupying the second. The second is vacant, now it's gonna remain vacant. But does it matter to us?
It doesn't matter, no.
Oh, it's
I'm
not a
just
condition
pointing out
that it remain, if they wanted to occupy it, would be okay with us?
It's a rentable space, could be somebody else if they wanted to occupy.
There's
but
no change of either fire or access or parking?
No, that
Great.
second story has no bearing on the first story, it's just that, I think the previous tenant, may have utilized both the second floor and the first floor as a combined part of their business, but that part is now vacant.
So parking, to Scott's point, is currently calculated utilizing first and second floor. So if a small office tenant that maybe had 4 or 5 vehicles would be taking some of that vehicle space, but we would limit what could go upstairs. They couldn't, for instance, sell cars or do something that's going to require a significant amount of cars.
Well, I mean, they could potentially, I mean, say there was an online dealership or just a small car dealer. The size of this property, maybe I'm going the wrong direction here. This just shows you part of it, but, I mean, even further south, they could accommodate for cars to be kept out there, in, you know, that pointed part of the triangle, there's a very large lot on the site. There's also sufficient parking within this area for customers and employees.
Businesses will be parking customers' cars in that parking lot.
Yeah, there's cars for McKenna that would be parked on site, and then this area would also be the area where the cars that are in need of the body repair from the petitioner would also be kept here. And then the vehicles down here, I believe those are part of the towing company, so they do like repossessions and things of that nature over here. So there's a lot of space in this area for storage of, I mean, it was a construction business for a long time, and they stored, I think there was like excavators or materials and things, so it's a large storage yard.
And what portion of that lot that are you requiring them to pave?
We are stating that this area here where the cars that are in need of repair for the body shop, we're recommending be fully paved. Our code states, I can go back to that section at the end. It does state that specifically for body shops, let's see if I can find it. Yeah, so any vehicle outdoors in need of body repair must be parked in a legal parking space and screened from view from any public street. So legal parking space is on a paved surface, contains striping. That area is kind of partially paved right now, and then it kind of trails into some gravel as you head east toward the east property line.
But that area is gonna be used by both businesses. That could be proprietary to the new business. Is that right?
I think the petitioner would need to clarify if they'll be sharing that. The McKenna cars, I'm not exactly sure where they park, because they were, it's a legal non-conforming, they were kind of parking
Yeah.
where they had space to park. From my understanding, the body shop would be the primary user of that screened area that's coming right off of their two overhead doors.
And this business is primarily a body shop, the new
Yes,
business?
this would be a body shop.
Okay.
I have a question. As this abuts, it looks like the Weber Spur land between it and Tenneco.
Right.
That Weber Spur is a public area. That is still that
No,
is not
it's-
part of the bike path and walking path system?
No, we have no bike path in this area. It's all privately utilized, so, you're familiar with the Terrace Ayala development that came
Sure.
through. They're down at the south end of this building. This was all, Felpro years and
Felpro,
years and years ago, and then they've been selling off parcels over time. This is just a large parking lot. And then, to the north, it remains the current, or the successor of Felpro is now Tenneco. And right now, it's just kind of unimproved, and then there's it looks like some trailer storage up here. It's just it's like underutilized in this area. but-
My question was twofold. One was the appearance that might be existing from the bike path if there were one, and the other was the discussion of the bike path, as I thought we had talked about at one time, moving north from Tui on a northeast pattern, following the old right-of-way that would connect to the McCormick bike trail.
As far as I know, there's no plan to put a path in here. I believe it terminates, the Lincolnwood portion put in a path which terminates behind Lowe's
It does.
on Tui, and then there's just, there's no extension of it that I'm aware of that's proposed for this area. This is all privately owned. I don't believe there's any study to reserve that land, because now it's fully utilized by private entities, and it would not be feasible to put a path through it at this time, I believe, because this is all required parking for these tenants, including a Terrace Ayala, and as you go further south, you've got the export property down there, and that's also parking.
So no connection to the bike path at McCormick at one time, where there was talk of that, there isn't
No.
now, and therefore, because there is no connection, there's no need for an appearance of the view of this
No.
body shop.
Well,
from
the
it.
bike path is on the east side of McCormick.
No, this was gonna be a connecting link, because this right-of-way of railroad
Right.
came up from Chicago through Lincolnwood and was gonna connect.
I remember that, but I don't think anything was done for that.
So,
Yeah.
as TUI developed from industry to commercial over the past 15, even 20 years now, we've made an effort to make sure that that walkway that's along the north side of 2E is wider than normal, so it functions as a multi-use path. So if you wanted to, say you were riding up from that, wherever that trail is called in Lincolnwood, up to 2E Avenue. And
Weber.
crossed the Weber Trail, and if you say you crossed onto the north side of 2E, you could presumably travel eastward down that widened path across Mariano's, past the bank, past Longhorn Steakhouse, and then cross and then access the trail from that area. But
Okay, one last question about appearance, not about bike path. As this is now part of the Acela, is that the name of the banquet hall that we approved years ago that exists over?
Terrace Ayala,
Yeah.
yeah, down here, yeah.
That, they park cars in that area, will they be looking at the back of this for which we're making no appearance? demands?
Screening is required, so.
Screening, but not the same landscape screening that we're requiring on St. Louis.
Commissioner,
right?
I don't know if you knew, but recently, through a modified review, they came in for an addition to their site.
The banquet facility?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
That's not,
They came in a couple, last month.
right,
Okay.
that isn't the question. The question is the appearance from that parking into this body shop and car storage, which is gonna be improved from what it was previously. Is there the same kind of requirement of appearance so that what the people in that parking area are looking at is not as bad as it was in the past?
We can request screening along at least this portion. I mean, this is really, it's the subject site, but the storage in question is going to be up here. So any screening that we request would be just for the area where those cars will be kept. We can't make that request over here right now, because this is a separate entity. We're focusing just on the business and the area that the business will be utilizing on the property. I can't say what's exactly screening here. There might have been some like concrete blocks or
I also
something,
know
but.
Terrace Ayala uses a lot of valet parking.
Yeah.
That
There's a drop-off area in the front of their business, and I know they've put some trees in, they've planted trees, few have actually died over time,
Yeah, I
and I'm
remember.
asking them to replant them, but, as far as screening for the proposal is, whatever would be requested would be in the area that would be along here, and then there's a gate and a fence here, and that would all, be screened off from view from vehicles coming down Jarvis and as well as vehicles.
Well,
along
even
St. Louis.
as it exists now, there's, you don't see much from that, because come down south on St. Louis, when you make that turn, there's not much to see, because you got all the businesses there.
Right, you have a landscaper here that
Right,
they've got
exactly.
a fence, there's a fence that turns here and you can't really see much of it from
Right.
there. You got
I mean, the
building
whole area is
here.
industrial.
Right. Back to my last concern, just not really a concern as much as clarification. So we have 3 users of the site. We have the McKenna user, we have the new user, both at the north and at the northwest edge. And is that a 3rd user that uses the southern triangle that we're not talking about tonight?
This is, so the towing company, utilizes this area for, storage of
And
vehicles.
do they have an office in one of those?
I don't believe they have an office, but I think they have like a small storage area. And then I believe the property owner also has a small area that they utilize for storage. So this is Rose Towing. Their main office is located on Howard Street, a little bit further east, I think up, like if you were on a map, it'd be like up here. And it's in the Moran owned a property up there with a big warehouse, and he was like, you know, he leased some space for them. I don't believe they run their office out of here. It's more of a storage area for their.
So our regulation is for we allow the legal nonconforming because that's already there. We're
Right.
regulating the new use. And the 3rd
Right.
use of Rose then is not being regulated by us today.
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
got it. Thanks.
Okay. Any other questions of the staff? Okay, Mike, thank you very much. Can I have the petitioner come up, please? Gentlemen, just give us your name, please, and your
Yeah.
affiliation with the business.
My name's Edward Young. I'm the architect for the project.
Okay,
My name is Guy Batista. I am the owner of the property.
okay.
Edgar Rivera, President of Operations /
Okay.
owner.
All right, gentlemen, can you raise your right hand? I'll swear you in. Do you affirm that the testimony you give tonight is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth so help you?
Yes.
Thank you. So, who wants to give us an overview of what you want to do and how you want to proceed with this?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Edgar, once again. We're here to, on a commercial base, to try to open up a body shop. Excuse me. And it's basically basically just is to help the community out too as well. Be
Okay.
part of it, get to know everybody, and that's pretty much it for now.
Are you currently running a shop now?
No, we're not.
You're not? Okay.
But these gentlemen have worked in body shops for several years,
Okay,
so
but
they're very
this is,
familiar
this
with
is the, you're venturing out on your own?
Right.
Okay.
Plus, they're also, like
Into the microphone, please.
like what was presented before, their clients are only gonna be fleet vehicles. So in other words, you're not gonna have hopefully somebody coming in with something that's really junky.
Well, you're not gonna do like collision work or insurance work? or
No,
anything
they'll
like that?
do collision work, I don't know, insurance work?
No, not really at the moment.
Into the microphone, please.
Not really at the moment, sir.
Okay. Yes, I'm good.
So that was my question exactly related to your clientele. Makes sense, you're working with fleet companies that have large amounts of vehicle, they bump into somebody, they want it fixed. This is not for private vehicle owners coming and doing vehicle repairs, body work, etc.
Yeah, we'll be taking it in, but really minor, minor, like not really. We really want to go on a commercial aspect. The least we could deal with the public people would be great.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Anything else you want to offer, or?
Yeah, a couple of things that we wanted to offer. One of the things was the landscaping, they're asking for the 10 bushes on the east side of the property. We're suggesting instead of putting those, instead of putting the bushes there, we'd like to put the bushes in front of the building, which then would be visible from St. Louis and would actually make the place more appealing. For it to be in the parking lot, where we're storing cars, in 2 years, 3 years' time, all those plants will die because as a parking lot, they'll probably be salting it, and that'll eventually kill the vegetation, and they'd have to replace it every 3 or 4 years.
I would agree with that. The staff, any objections to that? Is there room in the front?
So, let's see, the bushes were proposed for this area and this area, and, I concur with the petitioner. I do think that it would be a struggle for these, to thrive in this area. I had met with the, property owner as well, and there's an overhead door, and, he mentioned that the bushes would interfere with access to this area. And, we do feel that, the front of the building, there's some grass. You can actually see it in the overhead, or the area, the street view. Well, I guess you can't because the truck's in the way, but, there is some areas where additional landscaping could be provided in front of the building. So we are, supportive of the petitioner's request to relocate the bushes.
Yeah. How much in the frontage is public property?
Trying to squint here. I think it's, well, we've got 100 feet, is that correct? Trying to read that. Is that 100 feet of the building alongside the?
Yeah, the property frontage is 100, but we have the driveway that's, driveway from the repair shop is going there.
It's hard
I
to read.
estimate we would be able to fit between 4 to 5 bushes on either frontage of the storefront.
Yeah. This is all pavement here because McKenna uses it as their driveways to get into their overhead doors.
Okay,
So
so,
practical place to put landscaping would be within these grass areas.
okay.
It's about 40 feet.
I think it would be very appealing when you're coming down St. Louis.
Yeah, I
to
think so,
see-
too.
See bushes as opposed to, what's there? The other recommendation we are asking for is instead of slats in the chain link fence, is if we can put up a mesh, similar to what you see at tennis courts, and that would give you a, pretty much like a wall image
Mhm.
going all the way across. I mean,
I don't see a problem with that. Does anybody have a problem with that?
I don't know, Chris, explain the mesh and I'm not crazy about the interwoven lace effect either, so explain what the mesh is.
well, the mesh, I mean, you've been to a tennis court where they've had the type of mesh, so it would be, give you a more of a solid image rather than something that's vertical. I mean,
And
aesthetic,
breaks and gets destroyed.
yeah, aesthetically, I think it would be much more appealing, you know? And the only other thing that was requested by the building owner was if we could not have to knock down that concrete building, we'd end up losing 3 spaces for the employee thing, but, you know, whatever is recommended, we'll do. It was,
Comment on those couple of things?
Yeah.
The fencing material and the concrete building.
All right, so, first part was the, screening. As long as it can be maintained, because
Yeah.
the wind tends to weaken that material, so just, we gotta keep an eye on it and make sure that there's no holes going through. Whereas slats, they pretty much stay in place. So screening, could be this mesh, which just has to be, supervised and maintained. We want that shed to be removed. We need the parking to meet the requirements, not only for proposed tenant, but we've got several users here, and we're trying to avoid the cars using St. Louis Avenue for parking. As we mentioned, parking is, as I discussed with the petitioners, parking is tight on St. Louis. There's some areas where there's parking on only one side of the street. In front of this building, there's only 2 on-street parking spaces. You go further north and it's kind of hit or miss. There's a lot of loading areas, there's semis coming in and out. So a lot of the on-street parking has never existed because cars and trucks need to make these maneuvers, these wide maneuvers. So to allow for the traffic, we've got the emissions facilities, so you have constant traffic coming down St. Louis Avenue, coming down Jarvis. To provide as much parking on this site as possible is ideal. And picking up those, I think it's another 3 parking spaces, we desire that those spaces be provided, and they would also be required for this use. So we would not be supportive of keeping the shed on site right now. It was presented to us with the shed being removed, and I think the approval hinges on keeping that shed off, or removing that shed from the site. So, go ahead, yeah.
I'd like to make a point about that. That shed is a concrete structure. It has a retaining wall that blocks all the view in, a solid wall. It's been there for years and very strong. It's got a top on it. We use it for our salt. We have raw salt in there for salting and maintenance for different areas. So we keep it for that. We can still utilize, if we kept the storage facility, we could still utilize 2 of the spots as parking. And I would give a concession in any form that you need somewhere else. I think we have, this is not a shopping center. We don't have cars coming in and out all day. We have 3 handicap spots. There's nobody that comes there. It's dropping off, like, a car to be repaired that's gonna be handicapped. Someone else in the family would be doing that. There might be 3 or 4 cars that go in every day and out, as far as like people getting their cars repaired. They drop them off, they leave, they come back at night, they're done. They're not keeping their other cars there. the new employee, the petitioner asking for the zoning has only 5 employees. Now, it may grow, I understand, but we're talking about 36 spots for 5 employees and maybe storing 15 to 20 cars with extra spots already. It's not an in and out situation where you need a lot of those spots for people coming in. So I thought if we can get some kind of concession, give some kind of concession to keep that storage bin would help us tremendously and costly.
So you're asking for relief.
Yes.
I would like to respectfully note for the record that this case came in for preliminary plan review, and all of the conditions that are contained herein harken back to the preliminary plan review. There are numerous departments within the village that raised concerns about that shed, and this request recently came forward, very recently, in reference to the accessible parking spaces. That is state law, so that is not typically, or not, it's not an item that relief may be requested from, and that was preliminary plan review includes traffic engineering department, so just wanted the commission to be aware of that information.
What is the determination, and maybe that's in the packet, but how does that get determined that a business like this, that I agree with the landowner, we're not likely to have 3 parking spots for people who have a handicap? So what is that process to determine the number of spots?
So there are Illinois state statutes that govern accessible parking spaces, and it is based on the overall number of parking spaces on a site.
Okay, and then it is irregardless of property use.
That is correct.
So that's why you're in that situation of, it looks like it's a shopping mall, but we know those 3 spots aren't gonna get used. Obviously, we're in a state law situation. It is what it is.
Commissioner Franklin.
I'm just wondering, what were the concerns about the shed that the various departments expressed?
Thank you for asking. I'll do my best to recall. I don't have that specific program pulled up in front of me, but I do believe fire had some concerns related to just how it's located on the site, and therefore creating some potential access issues in the event of an emergency. That's the primary comment that I recall.
And that,
Commissioner Berman.
So I have a question for the petitioner. Is it necessary that you have the salt on site? Is it purely for salting this facility in the winter?
no, but it's also for future use. I mean, we're talking about, I don't know how long these gentlemen will be in here, and, that gets utilized for the property, and McKenna actually uses some of that spot, so he repairs salters and snowplows, and he puts salt in there when they're repairing it, and it's just very accommodating for the building and his business, as well as having salt on site for keeping the ice off the pavement.
So where, if that shed was gone and that was a parking place, where would the salt then be stored on the facility?
Well, in that one first stall closest to the west, there's 3 stalls designated to be put in there, but we would lose the one stall because that's the area. It should be an 8-foot by 10-foot area where the salt would stay, so it's not a lot.
So if the building came down, you're saying that the space that was gained would still be storing salt in it, would be unusable as a parking space?
Well, for the one spot would be unusable, right? But, that's what I'm saying, I would like to get those 3 spots back if possible. If like I said, if we're not utilizing we're not gonna even utilize probably 15 of those spaces with their business and McKenna.
it doesn't seem as though we can vote on that issue. The other two issues, it sounded like we could give relief on and make those conditions, the changing of the screening, the moving of the landscaping, but it doesn't sound like what we've heard tonight is, the shed is something that is negotiable because of so many other departments in the village that have
Right.
weighed in and
We're-
says this has to go.
We're not looking to change the whole scope and that's it. I mean, we're just looking at, if we can look at it as a future, if we could talk about it, everybody could look at it.
Looks
that
like
would-
we can't tonight, but you probably should in the future come back to staff
Yeah,
and
and
continue to discuss.
and if you come, if you want to say, yes, it's okay to do it, and providing we follow the rule, it is what it is, but maybe as we go through this, we can come up with a concession, say, if all the departments say, hey, it's fine if we do this, we do that, they're gonna go through everything anyway, correct?
Right, but we can't tonight. I think that's where we're getting to on this. We can get the two things it sounds like we can do, and this
Yeah.
one we cannot.
Yeah, I don't want to delay the process, so if we can't do any of that now,
Mike,
then.
does
keep
that
it-
shed have to be removed in its entirety? Does that shed have to be removed in its entirety?
So I'm looking at it, I mean, it's, the way it's positioned, we need a 24-foot wide, two-way drive over there. This is going dark on me.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, I was to say maybe leave the back wall.
It
So it's 3 spaces.
it comes out here, so this parking lot is arranged, right now, I think it's a substandard width driveway, so it's configured with the removal of the shed to give us 24 feet, so you've got, that's a standard village requirement, 24 feet for inbound, outbound traffic. So leaving it here would necessitate the parking lot to be reconfigured to, adapt for that. The only other possibility would be to expand this existing parking lot and pick up those 3 spaces here and maybe reconfigure this in a way that we've got that 24 feet. So this existing, fence and gate would have to shift south to make up for the 3 spaces that would be lost if this were to remain in place.
Well, I think we've got time between now and by the time the case goes to the board for the petitioner and staff to work that out. You know, maybe make some modifications to the existing shed. I don't know.
I think the structure of it, you probably can't adjust that wall. It's a concrete structure.
We can cut it.
Yeah, it's not wood. You can cut it
No,
back.
it's not wood, it's basically fireproof. It makes no difference for access for fire department or emergency, because there's gonna be a fence that goes back there anyway. If we take
Yeah.
out the wall, there's gonna be a fence there. So that's not gonna change the situation as far as that goes.
So our process, when we bring something to the plan commission, is that the majority of deliberations about the site plan have typically been discussed and agreed upon. This request came in after the packet was published, and so the commission needs to make a determination. Right now, we have a site plan before us, and a proposal that came with this application. It's not typical for us to ask staff to review something between a recommendation or not a recommendation to the village board, and when it goes for first reading, so.
So we either tonight have to approve or not approve based on what we have, allowing there to be the 2 concessions on the landscaping and the fence. Those are minor enough that we can include those, but the shed is not.
It's difficult for us to make a final determination about the shed because we don't have the ability to seek the input of other departments in real
But the
time.
landscaping and the fencing, we
So,
can.
I
Okay.
think the question is the petitioner prepared to have us approve this without that element, or would they rather go back and then is that the question on the table? Okay.
The case could also be continued, pending an alternate proposal from the applicant.
May I offer a suggestion that we approve it as is, and we come back with a new project, asking for maybe to increase the parking?
Well, if you come back with a new project, it might require a new hearing, so.
I understand that, but it would be treated as a different project. You understand? We need this to get the.
My recommendation would be either ask for a continuance, and you can come back with a different plan, and we'll just continue this meeting.
That's okay. Let's just proceed as plans show.
Okay,
But, I mean, a simple thing like the bushes,
yeah, it's no,
I mean, okay.
it's a,
No,
sh-
just please proceed then. I don't
Okay.
want to slow down.
all right,
the
so we'll
process.
move ahead. All right, so the shed, the shed's gone.
The shed is an issue, is right?
The shed is not an issue.
The
with you.
shed and the issue.
Okay, is there anything else that
No,
you have
that's-
questions? Okay,
that's-
very good.
that's it.
Okay, if that's it, I'll have you gentlemen sit down. Thank you very much. Is there anyone in the audience who have a comment or question or opinion on this case for tonight for public comments? Nobody? Okay, very good. Yes. Okay, we took care of that. Okay, so for case 2025-09P, I'm ready for a motion, and that should include the change in the landscaping and the modification of the fence material.
I move approval of 2025-09P with those two modifications that we've discussed, both on the fencing material and on the bushes.
And
Okay.
I'll state those for the record, so that would be
Yes,
a modification to condition number 1, which is the proposed architectural plan, which should be revised to reflect a location change and revision in number of shrubs. And then we will, the fence screening
material.
material, we will add, we will supplement the condition about the fence to include the maintenance of the fence screening material.
Okay, Commissioner Berman, is that?
It's
okay?
acceptable, yep.
We have a second? Commissioner Berman, okay. Call for the vote. Commissioner Scott Berman?
Aye.
Commissioner Franklin?
Aye.
Okay. Commissioner Giviahu?
Aye.
Commissioner Gupta? Commissioner Jeff Berman? Commissioner Matei? And I'll vote aye. Okay. Okay, the motion is approved. This case still has to go before the Board of Trustees. Again, they meet. Is there a relief?
Yes.
Okay, we need I don't have a separate sheet.
Relating to the parking lot trees.
Oh, that's right, for the $800.
Go ahead and use absent.
Okay, we need to vote on the relief of the trees, and the petitioner is gonna pay $800 in lieu into the fund. Do I have a motion to approve relief? Okay. Okay, Scott Berman,
Second.
second Commissioner Franklin. What am I doing here? Okay. Okay, call for the vote. Commissioner Scott Berman.
Aye.
Commissioner Franklin.
Aye.
Commissioner Giviahu.
Aye.
Commissioner Gupta. Commissioner Jeff Berman. Commissioner Matei. And I'll vote aye. And the relief from the trees has passed. Okay, again, these cases will go before the Board of Trustees. You will be notified when that happens. Again, they meet on the first and third Mondays of every month. Gentlemen, thank you. Good luck for your project. Is there any other, at this point, I'm going to open the floor to any public comments that anybody may have. Okay, no one coming forward. Any other business before the board? None. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.